Good morning, traders. This is Trader Rob. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd, day 2 of the challenge. First day yesterday, took a trade on the ES, took some profit on there. Could have been a little bit better, but hopefully you guys watched that video so you're kind of up to speed. I know I got some pretty good feedback on the format and how I'm kind of coming up with my setups here in the morning. So with that said, let's first pull up the funded accounts. Ended up taking 3 trades on the rule-based mechanical strategies, which include the oil inside bar strategy, gold, and the 15-minute Rob reversal. So we took a $70 winner on the NQ. I believe it was about a $35 loser on gold and a small loser in oil. But that account's pretty much at break even. And the account for the discretionary levels trading, we took 1 trade on the ES, so you can see the P&L right there on the screen. All right, let's just jump into the charts and what I'm kind of looking at for today. We've got this level here that I'm very interested in on the ES. So again, I start off on the 60-minute and I just try to map out my high volume peaks, and that one's already grayed out from yesterday. So those are the kind of the 3 shaded areas that I'd be looking for, and then I would like to drop down to the 15-minute and find the level. So if we go back to where price action was at, if you guys remember yesterday, my level on the 15-minute would be right there at the 64.71. And then based on when you go down to the lower time frame, you can then kind of start to formulate your plan. And the reason why I'm not so super excited about this area as an entry is I want to be on the other side of this high volume node peak right here that you guys can see right at that 64, 67, 68 area. I want to position myself underneath that and use that peak as a buffer for protection on my stop loss. Okay. If we go down into the shaded area, as you guys can see, I already mapped out the 15-minute level at 63.98. And again, this is at the bottom of this high volume node, so not interested here. Okay, I'm definitely not interested here. I've got a 5-minute level that we're going to jump into right now at the 64.11. So let's just do that so we can see what we see. All right, so this is again that 64.11 number. Again, if I would be looking for a trade here, I would want to position myself above this high volume peak right here, use this as a protection on my stop loss, and then place my stop somewhere in this vicinity. Safest would be down here underneath this peak, but again, that's kind of too big of a stop for me on the ES. But to refine a little bit, I would still have to go through this big peak, which is what I would be kind of betting on. I'll put it right underneath this smaller peak. So again, it's like a waterfall effect. You come down, and this is where you're going to start to see ripples into the water. So this, I'm going to mark this off as red. Okay, and then let me just jump up really quick, back up to here, and this would be a great. This would be a great spot right here. To be honest with you, this is where the beginning of this volume falls. And if I take a look at Bookmap, 64, yeah. So let me bring over Bookmap just here so you guys can take a look at this, what I'm seeing. So remember, what I just stated was 64, 60, 61 area. If we take a look at Bookmap, 64.61. That's, look how highly defended this area is going to be. Okay, so that's an area, just by looking at the volume profile, this would right here would be a very nice. Now, the reason why I don't have this shaded right now is that we didn't have a really big move away from it. We had the move away from it right around here. So that's that is an area, but this could have been a decent setup right there. Now, it also could be a very nice take profit center for me, because I already know that there is a lot of interest right at that area. So that would definitely be a take profit area. And then as far as a stop on this 64.67, let's take a look here. Yeah, I would say where it's kind of sitting at would be a really nice spot. A really nice spot for defense there. All right, so we'll remove this guy. So that's kind of the game plan that I'm looking at on the ES right now. I got the 64.14 that I'd be interested in. Again, I want to see some type of confirmation that that we do have an area there that's going to get defended. And if we jump over to the NQ, we're on the 60-minute. If we take a look at high volume areas, this is a good spot right there. We've got a smaller spot right up here. I would say probably right around there. And we obviously got this huge chunk of volume that we're going to be going right into some trades here. Let's see. And it's a big shaded area there. I'm not super interested anymore in this area, right, to be honest with you. We had a level that we came up, so let's jump into the 15-minute. Let's see what we see. All right, so we had a level we marked out yesterday right here at the 23,482. 482, let's see what Bookmap is telling me here. 482 hasn't really established itself yet at all. Not much sitting here. Not much that's sitting here, which is a little strange. Yeah. Not much is sitting at the 23,482 right now. So again, not really in, even though the volume profile's got an area of a lot of contention. I'm going to bring this back down to solid, and kind of monitor this as we get price action kind of going right back up into it. Let's see what else that we've got here. Let's see. All right, 15-minute from yesterday. I don't think that there was. We've got the 446, which we just tapped into from yesterday's level. That had a nice little reaction to it. That was about good for about 40 points. 482 had another level. And let's see down here, anything super strong. So we got a level at the 23,164. Again, below the high volume node, not interested. 23,271, on the other hand, this is sitting on the top end of a high volume node. So this could be very interesting. So let's take a look and see 271. Let's see what we got brewing over here. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So this, I'm going to put this in as an interesting area here. 271. Now let's jump into the 5-minute and let's see what we see there. All right, so this was the origination of a big push here right at the 3 o'clock bell yesterday. So not the Not super excited about that move. That could be a lot of algos and dumb trading at the end of the bell. I'll mark this. I'll keep this here as an area that I'd be interested in. Let's see, what do we got here? In the 5 minute, we did have a push right off of this level. We do have a 5 and a 15 minute level right there. It's kind of interesting, actually. And why is it interesting? You got a nice little peak here. Not as big a volume here, which, again, I'd rather put myself in front of the big chunk of volume. But, I mean, I guess you could kind of make a case for this move right here. So this would be, again, a 5 minute level. 5 minute level at the 23,225, which does sit on top of this volume node. I'm interested. I'm actually even more interested than the one right above. Yep. Okay. Stop loss, obviously, right below this node here, which somewhere we've got a level right there, so probably right underneath this level. Okay. Okay, stop loss. And then as far as take profit, your first easy take profit would be right here, top of that node. So I'll make that green. And then you got a lot of volume sitting right there. I would probably bring it right underneath this peak. That would be my other. So I think we can tighten up this stop loss here too. So I'd have to churn through a pretty big piece of volume before it gets into my stop loss area. So I like that. I like the setup here on the NQ from the downside for sure. And then above it, let's just take a look here really quick. So this is a 5 minute value right there. We had a good push, but we kind of came right back into it. This push here really didn't break any structure. Not interested. What about this guy? Didn't really break any structure at all either here. It's just not. Huh. Again, the only problem with this one is obviously had a really nice push to the downside at this level, which matches up with a pretty nice volume node. But then that would kind of catch me. Let me jump out here really quick on the. This would put me behind an area of just free fall. You know, this is it could be a good entry, could be a good scalp. But again, I just don't have the protection behind me that I need. I want to see volume increasing if I'm going to be going short. As kind of like a buffer line. Let's just really quickly take a look at the 23,725. Let's see price action, what it did here. Okay, so we had a decent move right here. We had a decent move to the downside. We did break structure. It is on the bottom side of this high volume node. kind of interested. So I'm interested in, let's look at this 23,725. I'm going to mark this one off so that when I move into the lower time frame, I know what I'm actually looking at. Let's jump into the 5-minute again. And let's take a look at this area, which is right here. Ah, crap, I think I moved to, yeah, right there. Let's take a look at price action. There we go. Probably move this down just a little bit, right around there. Increasing volume, got a ledge right there. That would be a decent stop loss. And then as far as a take profit, big move to the downside right there. I mean, obviously, very easy very easy TP right there. That just makes the trade kind of small. But this one's easy. Break through there, and you've got yourself a pretty easy free fall right there on the downside. Let's make that. Okay, TP1, TP2, stop loss. 23,720, 23,700, let's say, and 23,668. All right, so that's kind of the game plan for the NQ and the ES this morning. You guys can see here, not really interested in anything right there. So to the top side and then to the bottom side, those are the two setups that we've got. ES, I feel pretty good about this 6467 number. We should probably see this right at the bell, so that'll be interesting. All right, and then we've got our strategies loaded up. We've got oil, gold, the 15-minute Rob reversal. Again, if you want to learn any of the strategies, they're all linked in the description below. And if you would like the indicator or the strategy that automates the trades for NinjaTrader, all you got to do is just subscribe to the channel and leave me like the video and leave me a comment below saying that you want the indicators, and I will get that to you right away. Excited to see what day 2 has in store. See you guys in a little bit.
All right, I wanted to provide you guys another update. So on the NQ, we've spotted this level at the 23,481. Just a ton of volume sitting at the 23,472. So it's going to have a reaction here to the downside. I mean, honestly, you could probably target this 23,460 area. But I feel really comfortable with this entry here at around the 23,479 as the 23,480 level. It sits right underneath this 481. It's got a pretty good amount of volume stacking up with it. So this could be a pretty fast scalp on the NQ. Probably good for about, I would say, maybe 11 points, maybe 12 points on there. So we'll see what price action has to do. As far as the ES, we're still kind of sitting. Great reaction off of the TP2 here. So this is obviously a great area to target back if we do get down to the 64.35s. Still a good distance away from our entry on the 64.67. So I'll just be looking at the NQ from for the next couple of minutes here and see if we can get a trade in. All right, so here's another update. Nice little push here we're getting. I've actually changed the entry a little bit. Just a ton of volume stacking up at that 23,472. So I'm going to have my entry here at 471.50. Easy take profit right here. You can obviously see the bottom of this ledge coming out, 23,461. And second target would be at 23,454. So let's see if we get a trade here pretty soon. Worst comes to worse, the only place I would look to maybe add a secondary position would be at my original thought process, which is at 481, but stop loss would still stay at that 489 for sure. All right, well, there you saw it. Pretty simple trade. I had to refine it a little bit, obviously, and all really based on price action. The Bookmap obviously helped me out a tremendous amount because this level here, the 23,471, just started stacking. Actually, it was 72. I think this ticked into the 70. Yeah, it did. Actually, let me just take a look really quick. Let's see what the high of this candle was. The high was 72 exactly on the dot. 472. And that's where the big stack of volume was sitting at. And TP1 I knew was going to be very easy. I think we hit that one pretty quickly. TP2, it was pretty simple because of the fact that this is where we had a lot of volume sitting. That's one of the reasons why it's just an area where the market needs to obviously rebalance very quickly, and just a beautiful setup of trade there. All right, so a super nice day of trading. Took obviously, you guys just watched that very nice scalp that I was able to take on the NQ. Played out pretty perfectly. Entry right on the 23,471.50. Very important. A few ticks on your entry, man, can make a huge difference. And it was just a very easy trade in my opinion. 2 ticks of drawdown, so I don't know, what does that equate to? 2 ticks is what, $10? And took it straight down, TP1, TP2. This also was a signal that I submitted to my Signal members on Discord. Obviously prior to the trade, right after I looked at the setup with you guys on the video. So that worked out really nicely. Took $150 profit on that trade. The ES, let's talk about the ES. I left the house around, I want to say about 10:30. So I was luckily enough able to take that NQ trade. And then I had my next setup would have been the 64.35 play on the ES. This sucker came about, what is this? 5 ticks away from my entry, 4 ticks, maybe a point away from my entry, and then swept right back up to TP1 and 2. Probably would have invalidated this trade at that point. If I still would have stayed in it, you would have had to gone through some drawdown. You got to remember that I'm playing the volume. So if it comes in and eats up a lot of your volume and goes away, now that level of defense has obviously been lowered. If if I would have gotten in at this, I would have taken some serious drawdown, but I would have been able to probably capture here at least TP1, and then you would have got stopped out. So that's a classic invalidation rule for me. Most of my Signal members know that, but now I'm teaching you guys. If you've got a setup like how I do, where I am literally trying to scalp to the point, and it comes this close from entry, and violently goes away from it like this one did, it's just sucking up the volume that I'm looking at for my entry. Okay, as far as the mechanical strategies, how do they do? So oil and gold have lost both days, both sessions. Took a loss in gold, and then I also took a loss in oil session 2. Now, the saving grace for the mechanical strategies was 2 of the 15-minute Rob reversals both hit today for 70 points on the NQ of profit. Now, obviously, I'm on the micros, but this buoyed my entire the mechanical strategy was pretty much buoyed by these 2 trades right here. They offset these 2. I think I made $7 in profit with commission. I think we lost maybe $7. So, and that was, if you remember, during my video introducing the challenge, I kind of said what the pros and cons were for each of the strategies. And the one thing that I said about the mechanical strategy is you've got a diversified view of the market, and you can have a few losses and a win, and you're pretty much break even. Now, obviously, all 3 can lose, and you can have a very losing day. But all 3 can win, or 2 of the 3 can win, and then you're going to start to see profit. So they do buoy each other up pretty well. If I take a look on the funding ticks on the funded accounts, we are down $7 on pretty much a break-even day yesterday, and to be honest with you, a break-even day today. This was pretty much just commissions that I was paying for. And on the discretionary side, with the winner from yesterday and today, we're up $187. So as of right now, the discretionary side has the advantage. But we'll see in the course of the entire month how that plays out. And on this NQ trade, just to kind of give a teaching moment, what was my initial thoughts here? So if you guys remember through the video, my initial thought process was an entry at 23,481. Now, on my book map, the stack of orders at the 23,472 was about, I think maybe about 50 contracts. The 481 had about maybe it was around 40 or 35. It was about 10, 15 contracts less. Okay, I really liked this area here because of the volume profile, but I had to listen to what volume was actually telling me, because as we started to get back up into this vicinity, as you heard me say in the video, volume at the 23,472 started to increase dramatically. I think we got up to 80 contracts from the sell side. So I knew there was going to be a lot of downward pressure at the 23,471. And I always knew that, if it gets through this and it comes right up to tap, it needs a lot of force. It needs a lot of energy to get through that big of a stack of orders. So it's either going to reject hard, or the buyers are going to lose a lot of their strength. Just think of it as a huge speed bump. So then I said, okay, well, this could be a possible second entry at the 23,481. Obviously, I didn't even need that. Wasn't even close to that, because the reaction from this volume node right here, people, this is exactly what I'm looking at, okay? And there's just easy pressure to get down to your TP1 and TP2. It's just, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Water's coming down. It's going to come right here. It's going to have a ripple right here, which is your speed bump. In this case, it was an actual brick wall. And then water's just going to flow real fast to the downside right here. Okay, no resistance whatsoever. And that's exactly what you saw with this move. Could I have taken more points out of it? Absolutely. But I am looking for very specific, easy areas to target with a very specific area that price action is going to have a very hard time getting through. And that would be my stop loss. So that's hopefully this is starting to kind of open some people's eyes as to the strategy, what I'm looking for. And I think if we do this each and every day, it's going to help a lot of people out. So looking forward to see what tomorrow's got in store. See you guys later. Happy trading.